It's happened again. Just last night on Traditions Plaza, hate and racism were alive and well at Mizzou. The LBC Royalty Court was in the middle of preparing for their event this week when someone, one of us, went and called them racial slurs and showed how much hate they have in their hearts. It's enough. Let's stop this. Let's end hatred and racism at Mizzou. We're part of the same family. You don't hate your family. You don't call your family those kinds of names. Join with me and everyone else who is truly part of this family and say enough is enough and stop it now.
I think the president was an unpopular hire in 2011. I think the faculty never embraced it. I think some of the politicians in the state never embraced it. He's the second straight businessman, not from the academic world, to get that job. And I think that people on the faculty staff, he never won them over. And I think he was low-hanging fruit. I think he existed in a campus environment where his own staff made it clear to the kids on campus that he was not popular and he could be taken out. And the kids took advantage of that. I think that they have some issues. Missouri is 100 miles from Ferguson.
Yeah, I don't know I was thinking this last night. You know the area well. I would say in this country, there's only one state I've never been to, South Carolina. But the one area I don't know, Kansas, Missouri, Kansas City. Talk about the racial tension there, because I don't know its history.
Well, listen, I think there is racial tension all across America and all across the globe. I think we have this foolish notion that there's some utopia, some place on earth where there's these safe zones where there is no racial tension. Listen, bias and unfairness have been a part of the world's history since its inception. It's not going anywhere. And that bias and unfairness runs all directions. Here in America, because we're the minority as African Americans, it hits us the hardest. But bias and unfairness goes both ways. And so I don't want to single out Mizzou, but I will single it out in this case in terms of it's so close to Ferguson and the St. Louis area. And so many St. Louis and Ferguson kids
go there,
come to Mizzou, and athletes on the football team from that area and existing in that environment, that I think Gary Pinkel and the president there had a difficult situation. And I think the faculty and Gary Pinkel were aware this president's ill-equipped. He doesn't understand kids. He doesn't understand young people. He doesn't even understand what just happened 100 miles away and what impact it's had on this university and how we can best address it and deal with it. And so
you don't sense any altruism here, because my argument is, one of the reasons I supported Missouri players is I ever seen the documentary Hot Coffee about the
yes.
And if we don't, the great moments in this country that broaden and strengthen our democracy, not weaken it, is when the powerful reach down to the powerless. Those with a voice reach down to those without it. And for decades, college students like me who are broke give our time and our energy and our love to our teams on campus. Rarely do those athletes reach back to us and say, we're part of you, student body. And Missouri players, I would argue there is some altruism here, said, listen, this is a hunger strike. This is a campus with racial strife. I thought it was a moment that it was not only symbolic, but it was a gesture that you rarely see. The college athlete, viewed often as pampered, reaches back and helps the student body.
Listen, there are some good things and good lessons and examples that came from this. And I think what you're talking about is one of them. But I also think and know that there are issues within that Missouri football program that those kids, that's part of also the reason they joined this, because they feel like there's some issues that need to be addressed in the football program.
What if the team was 11-0, 8-0?
Wouldn't have happened.
Okay.
Would not have happened.
So my altruistic take's a little off.
Slightly. It wouldn't have happened if they were undefeated and playing for big games. But listen, when a team struggles the way that Missouri has, and they have the kind of quarterback play they've been getting from their freshman savior, their big recruit, grandfather and dad both played at Mizzou. This kid was supposed to be their savior quarterback. He's been awful the last 4 weeks, and there are kids on that team that feel like, well, why is this guy not being evaluated? Why is he being pampered? Why isn't he coming off the field and perhaps giving Marvin Sanders, our black quarterback, a chance who can run the ball? So I think those issues are at play. I think those issues, racial issues and tension and divisiveness without race, are always being managed by the football coach, a good manager, a good leader. This year and in the past 18 months, because of what's happened in Ferguson, I think they're more acute at Missouri, on the football program and on the rest of the campus. And this president, he's a businessman.
He was ineffective.
Yeah, he slow to recognize the seriousness of the problem, and the faculty upset with him, and they turned on him.
That's what was going on. Hello, my McDo brothers, back again for part 2 of this series detailing what's going on at the University of Missouri. And in the clips that we played before this, we have R. Bowen Lofton, the chancellor, not the president, but the chancellor of the University of Missouri, detailing one of the events that actually led to the protest and the eventual ouster of not only himself, but the president of the University of Missouri. In the second clip, we have former ESPN sports writer and former writer for the Kansas City Star, Jason Whitlock, giving his analysis of what went on at the University of Missouri. The two accounts detail that this is far deeper and far more complex than a simple thing about social justice warriors on campus and a few millennials running around protesting. Dr. Lofton actually proves the point that there was systematic racism at the University of Missouri, but that is not the point. That is not what's causing all this uproar. What is unusual and insignificant about this protest is that the Titans actually weighed in on it, which doesn't normally happen. As I explained to John the other in one of my comments in his section, is that football players don't normally weigh in on social protest on campus. Star athletes are normally above the fray. They are the elite on campus. And especially in the football South and Midwest, they are well above the fray of normal students, even professors. And Mr. Whitlock does a very good detailed analysis of what he thinks went on. And I've heard other academics that have been in those academic circles describe a similar point of view as Mr. Whitlock. But I digress. The second part of my particular contribution to this video is the settling of the infamous made-up Poop Swastika. Now, I've heard from more than a few people that the Poop Swastika didn't exist, and it was made up, and it was a hoax and a rumor that didn't happen, and they were seizing upon this particular incident, which I've argued against, to actually form a fake protest and fake outrage. The last video and the first part of this video proves that this is false, but now I'm going to deal with the actual scandal and swastika itself. Now I only have 3 minutes to wrap this up. We're going to go through this really quickly. This is from the newspaper of record in Columbia, Missouri, the Columbia Tribune. Swastika found in MU bathroom. Someone used feces to draw a swastika on the wall of a restroom in Gateway Hall at the University of Missouri last week, according to the Residence Halls Association statement. And that's from October 30th, 2015. This is the statement that the Residence Halls Association actually produced. On Saturday, October 24th at 2 a.m., an individual came into one of the restrooms at Gateway Hall and drew a swastika on the wall with their own feces. The event happened while many students, including myself, were already asleep. The individual used a symbol that targets cultural and religious minorities in a place where students call their home. After this event, it has become clear to me that inclusivity of our residence hall has been threatened. The next clip is about a similar incident that happened in April of 2015, where a student had been charged and actually convicted of the same thing, but he drew his swastika in ash. Here's a screenshot of the University of Missouri Police Department detailing the incident report, or giving a summary of the incident report as they found it. And last but not least, here are the photographs of what the residence hall monitor actually found. These are what you've been waiting for. These are the infamous poop shots that everybody been wanting to see. And as we can see, they actually exist. Now, whether they're fake or they have been faked by somebody else, I don't know. It's been reported that these have been released by the University of Missouri. Whether they are authentic, that's something that you're going to have to do the research on. But these are the poop shots that you've been waiting for, that you didn't say existed. Here they are on the screen. See for yourself. I have one more video coming up in this series, which will deal with a question John the Other asked directly. I'm going to give my feelings on race and the commentary that he brought up, and a particular question that he asked is, what about affirmative action? And my analysis and commentary might surprise some. So stay tuned for that. With that, I think my limit is up. I'm going to close this one out. So I'll see you on the next one.